name's Ariana, I'm the Oak Witch here on YouTube, and today's video is going to be a book review. This is going to be a new series on my channel where I review books that I've read, and the first book that I'm going to review in this series is Psychic Witch. So I want to start off by saying that I've spoken about this book before on my Twitter, so my opinions are already out there, and I love this book. I love it a lot. I think it's great, and that is a massive spoiler for this review. But I'm going to go through the positives, I'm going to go through the negatives, and then give a summary of my review at the end. So let's go through the positives. Now, the first thing I want to say about this book is that it is great for outlining the basics of magic and witchcraft. It is, it goes through just everything a beginner witch needs to understand. It goes through energy and the fundamentals of what it is and how we can sense it, and also it emphasises meditation as a key part of practice in witchcraft, and it's definitely something which I've been trying to hone in on a lot more recently. But meditation is key, you know, exercises like grounding and centering, which you need to be doing before spells, at least, is a form of meditation. Breathing techniques. He goes into detail about centering and grounding, and he talks about brainwave states and how we can enter them ourselves and what the different brainwave states are used for in magic. I won't go through too much of the content for the book since it's so great. I want to support Matt, and I obviously don't want to just give everything away. But yes, it goes through the key basics, and anyone who will ask me for a beginner book recommendation, I will immediately recommend this book. I think he does a great job summarising it, more than any witchcraft guidebooks I have seen. I won't give examples because I don't want to shame someone else's book whilst uplifting someone else's, but this book does it better than any other books that I've seen. He really goes through the basics properly. In concepts like working with the senses, he will go through questions you can ask yourself. He'll really go through the process and guide you into figuring out how you can sort of experience it for yourself, rather than saying you should be feeling this, you should be feeling this. It's like, how would this make you feel? That's how well he goes through the basics. Another good thing I'd say about this book is that it's a really easy read, and I don't mean that in a bad way, obviously. Matt Auryn is obviously a really talented author and really talented writer. He writes really well and really eloquently in a way which the more advanced witch can still get a lot out of this book, but whilst also helping the beginner easily understand the concepts that are being thrown at you. Yeah, I think it's a really good read. I didn't find much difficulty going through the concepts. Another thing I want to say about this book is exercises. It has how many exercises? I remember the number being significant. 93 exercises are in this book. I won't go through the exercises because I want to encourage you to read this book and go through them yourself. But wow, there are a lot, and they span so many different concepts. Obviously going from the beginning, more basic exercises, to a lot more complicated and multi-dimensional exercises. So I really recommend getting this book because of the sheer amount of interaction you have with it. This isn't just a casual read. This is something where actually you can get something out of it. You can really have a go at processing the information he's given you. And it's something you can definitely incorporate into your practice. These are exercises which actually you can end up just taking with you on your journey, and that's why it's such a key essential read for beginners, I'd say. So now that I've gone through the main positives of this book, I'm going to go through some of the downsides. One thing I want to carry off from about the exercises is that it has a lot of exercises, and while I maintain that's not a bad thing, however, it is not a casual read. Like, you really have to have a go at this book. One thing I'd say to counteract this is what I did. I read it through completely, just casually. I still read the exercises, but I didn't necessarily practice them as I went along. I read through the entire book, and at the beginning I went through the exercises as I was reading them, but towards the end there are a bit more complicated ones, which I will bookmark, or I have bookmarked. Yes, I dog-ear my pages. And then I will have a go at later. So, in short, you kind of have to find a way to read the book. Some people actually might want to do the exercises as you go along, so this will take you a while to read, because there are 93 exercises. So if you're going to do them as you go along, that will take you a while to read this book. But if not, obviously you can just go through and then read it through again. But bear in mind that obviously to do certain exercises towards the back, you would have to have at least got a good grip of the beginning exercises. So that's something to bear in mind. One thing I also wanted to bring up is that everyone can really visualise that well, and this is something that I don't personally struggle with. I'm a very visual person. He talks about the witch eye and how you visualise something in your witch eye, but I've come across people who really can't see images that well in their mind. So a lot of the exercises hold that as like a crucial thing to really get a grip of and be able to do well. But if you really just can't do that, you might struggle a bit with the exercises, or it might just take you a while again to get through the book. Visualization isn't something that comes naturally to a lot of people. It does to some people like me, and it does to many witches, but I just thought I'd say that as maybe actually if you know that you really can't visualize at all, you might actually struggle with the material in this book. One other thing which I'd say is a bit more of a trivial negative is the term psychic might put people off. I read a review for this book where the person says that they don't think it's worth a read because of the term psychic and how it seems a bit but I think there's nothing wrong with the term psychic, because it encompasses, everything that he talks about, the basics of energy work and manifestation and magic and using that in rituals. Sorry, something in my eye. So I don't think that that's actually anything bad, but I guess some people can be put off by the term psychic. So I would say actually, if that is something that's bothered you, just don't think about it. So overall, I would say this is a must-have on your bookshelf. I give this 5 stars out of 5. I think it's a fantastic addition to the Witchcraft and Occult library. I honestly will continue to go back to this book throughout my craft. I can see myself using the exercises that he has put in here in just multiple different aspects of my craft. It's definitely something that I know I will be constantly going back to a lot. Small things I always like to see in a book. Bibliography. It has an extensive one, a lot of different resources here, but you can actually just go through yourself if you wanted to. Then it has an index, which is nice. And it's a pretty looking book. You know, the chapters are spread out and sectioned really well. The text isn't too small, which can bother some people. But yeah, I think that overall this is a really nicely laid out book. Yes, you know the one thing that does bother me? The material. That kind of bothers me a little bit, but not really. But the content of the book is what matters most, and it is amazing. So go buy Psychic Witch by Auryn. I really, really think it's worth reading. Let me know if you've read this book. What did you think about it? Tell me your thoughts, your opinions below. Do you disagree with me or do you agree with me? Like always, thank you so much for supporting me and my channel. If you liked this video, give it a like, comment below and subscribe to my channel maybe. So yeah, thank you for watching and hope you have a lovely day. Bye!